the Lobo associate head coach. Lamont, thanks so much for being with us today. Our Delta Dental coach's comments. There was a stretch there, about a 3-minute stretch in the second half. The Lobos had a 4-point lead, and Air Force went on a 9-0 run. It kind of encapsulated the night. There were a couple of turnovers mixed in there. O picked up his 4th foul, and Coker, who had a really nice game, hit 2 threes. And that seemed to swing all the momentum. That was a real key juncture tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. I thought through that stretch, if I can recall right, I thought we had some breakdowns at the end of the shot clock. I think I'd have to go back and watch the tape, but there was about 5 or 6 possessions in the game, under 10 on the shot clock, and they made plays. And then we had some critical turnovers during that stretch, and then lost Coker on a couple dribble handoffs.
New Mexico, I felt like in the first half, their offense had a nice rhythm. What about the second? As Air Force made its run and the Lobos started to find it a little bit more difficult to score, obviously not having O in the middle was a big deal, but when you had the 4 guards out there with Devin, difficulty finding good shots?
Yeah, I thought we lost our rhythm a little bit. We played with 4 guards this year a little bit, so that wasn't really the issue. I just thought that we lost a little bit of momentum. I thought even the start of the second half, we came out a little bit sluggish. I want to say the first 4 minutes, it was a 10-4 them. And that's just critical stretches in ball games, Unlike when we played there at Air Force, we came out and were the aggressor to start the second half and got up about 4. And tonight we didn't do that, and then I think that gave them a little momentum as we started the second half.
I like when Tim Jacobs comes into the game because he brings in energy. But as a starter, he starts. I thought he did well early on, but he started to try to go to the well maybe a little too much and created some turnovers. Turnovers are always tough, and in fact, Air Force was able to score off some of those turnovers in transition. And in the second half, I thought a little bit more about the bonus. The Lobos getting into the bonus with 17 fouls against Air Force. Why weren't we able to take advantage of that?
You know what? I thought early on we got into bonus, and then I thought the refs actually, swung it really quick back to them. I think we may have had 4 or 5 fouls right in a row.
It's so funny, Lamont. I had just said to Hunter, how many times do you see when you've got a disparity like that, the officials even out a game? And it happened in the blink of an eye. They called 4 in a row, like on back-to-back possessions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd have to go back and watch the tape and make no mistake about it. I'm not putting this loss on the referees or anything, but the momentum swung really quickly. I thought we were in a good rhythm, and then we had the 4 or 5 fouls right in a row. But I think the story of the game, what Hunter said is, they had 21 points off turnovers, and 7 fast break points. And a team that really doesn't pressure, doesn't press, and so a lot of those mistakes were unforced errors by us, and evidently cost us the game.
One really nice moment tonight, and I know on a night where you guys are looking to advance, and that's all that you're thinking about, but if it was Hugh Greenwood's final game, when he hit long-range 3 in the first half to get to 11 points, he eclipsed 1,000 points for his career, and he's the 33rd ever to do that in Lobo history. He's also the 17th ever with 1,000 points and 500 rebounds. We get a chance to ask Coach Neal this. What are your thoughts on what Hugh has meant and means to this program and will mean as an example for future Lobos?
I think Hugh's character, has been, told, his story has been told many times throughout our community, but he's a high character young man, and he's a young man that is willing to do whatever it takes for the betterment of the team. And I think his legacy will always be long, not because he averaged 20 points or because he, grabbed 15 rebounds a game, but because of what his character is about. And I think that's what our community is about and why they embrace him so much in the state. And, just being able to work with him for 2 years, I've been very blessed to be a part of some of his success. And I just hope that our guys in that locker room that return for the following years and years to come, that they can really sit down and understand what that means to be a Lobo, and understand how much your character and how much your toughness really helps your ball club win, and not only win on the court, but win in the community and win off the floor and all those things.
Yeah. Hunter, you know exactly what it means to be a Lobo.
Oh, yeah, no, exactly. But I said this over and over about you. number one, his character, but I mean, he's a warrior. You know, there's no one better than you that I would, you know, when you go to war, you want a guy like Hugh Greenwood shoulder to shoulder with you, because he's going to be there through the thick and thin, and you can count on him. So, unfortunately, his career ends here today. But his legacy will live on.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously 15 and 16, a disappointing year for our standards. We certainly going to roll up our sleeves and get everything we can out of the Orange in the offseason and get prepared for next year. But I would hope that our Lobo fans really understand Hugh's legacy and don't put it all in the 15 and 16 season, but his overall body of work.
I know that there's a lot to be discussed, but I've got to ask, have there been any preliminary discussions, you know, around the complex? Any talk of if the possibility is there of either the CBI or the CIT? Could the Lobos, if invited, accept a postseason opportunity?
I have no idea, Robert. I'm really getting game to game, trying to prepare our team. You know, coach and our athletic directors probably had some conversation, but I'm not abreast of that. And so I think it'll come out very soon if we are. And if we're not, we'll hit the reset button and go to work.
All right. Had to ask, of course.
No problem.
When you look at what the Lobos have coming back, if in fact this is it for this year, sort of encapsulate the returners, and then, you know, what we know is coming for next year in this great recruiting class, the 3 guys that the Lobos have signed for next year, and then, you know, knowing that Cullen Neal will be coming off a redshirt year, and you'll hopefully have a healthy Jordan Goodman coming back. Give us a little perspective.
Yeah, you know, I think the biggest thing is you have 3 guys that are sitting out in Cullen Neal. We say 4 now, but you have 3 guys that set out the most of the year with Cullen Neal, Tim Williams, and Elijah Brown. And I think the thing about those guys is they're not normal freshmen. You know, Tim Williams averaged 18 and 8 at Sanford. Yes, a lower level, but he's played in big-time college games. That meant something. Elijah Brown, you know, 17 against Villanova as a freshman. And so these are guys that have already been in battle-tested, that'll come in, that know our system, know our culture, that have been sitting for a year. And then, you know, the biggest thing that I can say about our freshmen is that Dane Kuiper wins back-to-back state championships in Arizona. Jordan Hunter tonight is playing in the semifinal of the state championship. And Anthony Mathis is playing in the round of the quarterfinals of his state championship, and he won a state championship last year. So you're bringing guys in who have won at a high level and have high skill sets, and, you know, come in and ready to work.
3 outstanding freshmen, 2 fantastic transfers, and then the coach's kid who only played 2.5 games.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty big group.
Yes, and, you know, make no mistake about it, we have work to do, and we're going to do the mirror test just like every team that loses, but we're going to really roll up our sleeves and get after it this offseason.
What is that like for you, the mirror test, when you do the self-examination part of it? I'm sure there's a lot of work, but it's kind of an introspective thing too, isn't it?
Absolutely. You have to be honest with yourself and your program and where you are and where you want to go. And obviously they have an unbelievable blueprint of success here. And so we won't get off that track so much, but we'll just do some tweaks and turns and try to, you know, see where we fell short this year and try to make some adjustments.
So you mentioned a number of the guys coming in, a lot of guards. Do you anticipate changing the style of play offensively?
You know what? I don't anticipate us. Like I said, we have an incredible recipe for success here. You know, obviously, Obach Jet, I thought, had a tremendous last 5 or 6 games. He's getting better day to day. Tim Williams is a guy, again, 18 and 8. He's a legitimate guy. You can throw it to the low post and get a bucket. And so I think we can still play off some of the things that you guys have seen. Tim can play on the high post and high low and do some different things, pick and pop. So, you know, I think our base will be the same. We'll just make some adjustments, again, kind of to tweak with our personnel and kind of where we fell short this year.
How about the development of Obach Jet? We've heard Coach Neal talk about it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on what he's done. He had a 5-game stretch coming into today. His best body of work during that run since he's been here, without a doubt, playing 35 minutes a game and almost averaging a double-double.
Right, and you know, I think for big guys, they always develop late. Hunter would understand this as well. But, you know, we get so caught up, we're in microwave society, that we want it right now. Even freshmen, I'm one and done. I'm 2 and done. I want it right now. And Obach is slowly but surely getting better and better and better. And he's just a sophomore. He'll be a junior next year. He's still got 2 more years with us. And I think his development and his growth will continue to grow, and he'll pay dividends for Lobos and Lobo fans for many, many games to come.
Finally, he didn't get to play today, and obviously because of the broken hand, missed his senior night as well. But Deshaun Delaney has meant a ton to New Mexico over the last 2 seasons. Give us some thoughts on him.
You know, when I think about Deshaun, I think about a couple things. One is just a tremendous kid. Yes, sir, no, sir. A guy who's just worked his tail off in the classroom to be able to achieve something that's going to be very special to his family here in May when he graduates. But I can just also remember that big 3 hitting the corner against San Diego State, and just his toughness and his ability to not care if he scores 2 points or 20 points just to help his team win. And again, blessed to be able to work with him, and just excited to see where he goes. I know he's gonna end up playing professionally somewhere and get his degree and be able to support his family. He's just a fine young man.
You talk about his character. You mentioned the 3, and you're pointing to the corner where you remember it happening in here, and we were sitting in pretty much the same spot when we watched it. But for that tournament, for those 3 days, and I believe the number's right, he had 15 in the semifinal win against Boise, which was a 1-possession game, you'll remember, and went right down to the finish. And he averaged about 10 and 5 for that tournament. That was kind of his breakout period this week here last year.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And you got some great stats, Robert. You're pulling out stats from almost a year ago, Hunter. 15 points. That's a great job.
Yeah.
You're good at what you do.
You've got it written down over there. Don't let him fool you.
He's cheating on me?
Don't be fooled, yeah.
He's cheating on me, okay.
Yeah, it's all down there.
But no, Didi did have a coming-out party here and had a tremendous senior season. Again, 15 and 16, judging for his whole body of work. In 2 years, he was able to win a championship, advance and play in the NCAA tournament, lead his team in scoring overall, I believe, this year, and just had a great senior year. And I would say if you don't know Didi and you get a chance to be around the community, stop. I guarantee you he'll stop. He'll spend some time with you. Just a great kid.
Lamont, thanks so much for coming over. I know it's not what you had hoped this postgame would be today, but it's been a fun ride. It's always a fun ride, regardless. The final numbers in terms of wins and losses. Appreciate everything that you do for Lobo basketball. And, if this is the final one, good luck with that off-season examination and getting ready for a fresh start next year.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much.
Forget about that examination. Go get us some players.
Yeah, I got to go recruiting. I'll be on the road on Sunday going down to the National Junior College Tournament. So we'll definitely get to work. And, again, appreciate you guys. I know how much it means to you, Hunter, and Robert. You've been a part of the family for the last 2 years, and just appreciate you guys' support. I know it's not always easy traveling, missing your family, but again, thank you for everything you guys do.
Thanks a lot, Lamont.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Lamont Smith, associate head coach for New Mexico basketball. The Lobos' final score here against Air Force today in round 1 of the Mountain West Tournament, 68-61. Your Delta Dental coach's comments brought to you by Delta Dental of New Mexico. Almost 400,000 New Mexicans